talking earlier, you had said that you got to work under two of the greatest trainers running today, and Todd Fletcher and Chad Brown. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how that's prepared you for where you are today.
Well, you go to work for those guys, and you have lower level and allowance type, but this is a large part of what their staples are at these type of versus these type of races. So I had a lot of exposure from the time I walked into Todd's barn. I remember the day I walked into his barn, he had Rags to Riches, Scat Daddy, Any Given Saturday, Lawyer Ron. It was just, who's who of, past champions. So just from that on, just being around it, seeing it, what goes into preparing for these type of races, training and, operating at this level. And when we start our own business, we're kind of hoping that we can attract the owners and the type of horses that it takes to get there, and knowing what it takes to get there. I know it took me a little time, but it only takes one horse to kind of take you up to that next level. I mean, Chad was the same thing. It was just more seasoning on top of an already really solid experience. A lot of guys after working for Todd for 6 years will go out and train on their own, and I've never necessarily I always had in the back of my mind, it just things needed to work out the right way, and after many years of working under the best, they did.
Well, before we get to the Belmont Stakes, we also spoke about how you got involved, and you talked about your mother and father. Could you kind of touch a little bit about the stories of what got you into it?
Well, yeah, I was raised around it. It wasn't always that I was necessarily in a position where my dad, he knew what the horse business was and how hard and how demanding it could be, and he never pushed anybody towards it. We always kind of just had freedom to do whatever we wanted, and years went by, and it's kind of this acre to diamond store. It was always right under my feet, even though I went out looking for years and years as to what I wanted to do. And when I finally kind of found my little niche there, working with horses, it just kind of blossomed quickly into one of the racetrack, and grew from there.
And your mother did equestrian?
Sure,
dressage.
she's always dressage, 3-day eventing, hunter jumpers, just all sport disciplines, or horse sport disciplines.
All right, so we talked about Anna Marie, about you were hoping not to get a middle post position. You got the 8-12. Talk to us. Are you happy with that draw?
Yeah.
Talk about how Anna Marie is doing.
Yeah, very happy with the draw. Like I said, for this horse, he's not one that's really gonna, counts on early speed or too much, that early positioning. But for us, it's just getting out of the gate cleanly. I know we got Sierra Leone outside of us, who's, we all know has a little habit of leaning in. So hopefully we can just get away clean and get a good trip into the first turn. That's really all we're concerned with. Now, as far as positioning and how we want to, approach the speed and the dynamic of the race, we'll talk with Flo and kind of look at things after we see it all on paper tomorrow.
Any concern about weather, track conditions? Can he adapt to either conditions?
Yeah, he's run on a couple wet tracks already between New Orleans and Kentucky, and the track in New Orleans that day for Risen Star was a disaster. It was a bad track. He did stay too far back. They were going, so it was not a great setup as the race unfolded. So he made a great run. He had a great closing quarter, but I think he handles it fine. He ran second on it in Kentucky in his second start. Albeit the race was 7 furlongs, so it's tough for him to really get into his second part of his race where he puts together a lot of momentum. So I'm fine with it. I'd rather it be dry, but if it's wet, we'll be fine with it.
Well, Whit, Pastor, I appreciate you making time for us, and best of luck this
Yeah,
weekend.
thank you. Thanks, guys.